Villainous Husband, Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Oh, it can't be. How dare I do such a blasphemous thing? I hurriedly jumped to my feet and shouted. But, I got up so hastily that I stepped on the hem of the wedding dress I was wearing, and fell forward. Although I fell unseemly, I was glad that my body responded swiftly. In front of Rhaenyra, everything must be done quickly. How much he tormented the heroine, Serafina, for not answering quickly. And how many servants have lost their heads because they didn't quickly correct what he didn't like? All answers must be made within 5 seconds. But, although and however are absolutely forbidden words. Raise your head. I raised my head as I was told. Even in the middle of the darkened room, there was a shining presence. With one hand on his back, Rhaenyra tilted his head and looked down at me, then trampled the hem of my dress with his boots. I'll give you a chance to explain, Empress. As he narrowed his eyes, a laugh rang inside his neck. My fingertips were cold. At that moment, I closed my eyes tightly and shouted whatever came to my mind. I have a chronic disease of fainting with my eyes open, Your Majesty. Oh, are you shouting in front of me? At his words, I immediately corrected the parts that Rhaenyra didn't like. Whisper, whisper. I have a chronic disease of fainting with my eyes open, Your Majesty. Ho! I had not heard of such a story when I received a letter about you from Unro Kingdom. It doesn't happen that often. Full brain power operation. My head was spinning as I scattered to find the correct answer. Perhaps because His Majesty's presence is so intense. Maybe I couldn't stand it as a small person. I see, so. Rhaenyra smiled sweetly and patted my dress with her heel before finishing the sentence. It's my responsibility? Yeah, of course. If he lets it go like that, it's not Rhaenyra. I put my palms on the floor and lowered my head. That's right, the so-called please kill me pose. If anyone looks directly at the sun, they will become blind. But, no one will ever say that the sun is guilty. Oh, I see, then. Stop it now. No more. I'm using up all of my wit today. What else is he going to say now? As I lay down on the floor, almost hitting my forehead, I took a deep breath to control my pounding heart. Still, I'm glad I haven't received an order to bring a knife yet. When I was thinking about something else for a second, I could hear a voice above me again. Are you not going to see my face for the rest of your life because you're going to faint? No. Of course, with pleasure, if Your Majesty allows it. I'll allow it. Pardon? What? So, is he saying that he allows that I can't see, or that he allows me to look? Nonetheless, my decision had to be made within 5 seconds. Under the pressure and tension beyond pressing the last box of the minesweeper, I chose to raise my head and stared at Rhaenyra's face. There, he had already fallen on one knee before I knew it. He leaned slightly towards me while his hair draped over me a little. Wow, he was a really handsome man, though I didn't feel any fluttering excitement at all. Because I didn't know if I made a good choice or not. At this moment, when I don't even know the future, I came to think that the original Empress might have been much wiser than I thought. Right, every moment is like the ending quarter of death. So, being able to survive for months in this crazy situation is a skill. Seeing me glancing at him with my frozen, trembling eyes, Rhaenyra smiled. It wasn't a smile that only raised her lips, which he had shown so far. His eyebrows curled down, as his eyes dented a little. And, even the thin lips were symmetrically drawn with soft arcs. Had this person not been Rhaenyra Actilus, that angelic smile would have melted me. Good job, gasp. It was fun. That was a good choice. It's not boring, sobs. Are you making that sound because of a chronic illness? Hearing that, I shook my head. No, it's because he said it's not a bad choice. I'm relieved that I feel happy, feeling safe now that I don't think I'm going to die. Life is very unfair. If you choose the wrong choice to raise your head or not, you might die. It's too stimulating of a thrill for me, who couldn't even ride a roller coaster or a gyrodrop in my previous life. A hand that handles swords, bows, and even axes, dug down my neck. He held my neck in his hands and made a strange act of squeezing the pulse under my ear with his thumb, before laughing as if he was happy. If he puts strength in his grasp, I'll be strangled right away. I trembled like I did at the wedding, thinking that it would be much better to just stand side by side in front of a lot of people. Being alone with him is not good for my heart. I'll reward you for making me feel better. I don't believe the reward that someone like him is saying about. There is no such thing as a proper reward. Any question you ask, I will gladly answer it. Look at this. What kind of reward is this? If my question goes against his grain, the situation may change rapidly again. In the first place, Your Majesty, aren't you too conscientious to hold my delicate neck like this and speak of mercy? But, dissatisfaction must be spoken only inside my head. My brain was steadily picking out the most straightforward questions possible. Your Majesty, I heard that Your Majesty personally chose me. Why was it me? For a moment, the sigh added strength to his hand. I felt like I was about to suffocate any moment, so I took a deep breath. Slowly, I raised my eyes slightly and gazed at his face. His straight brow was slightly furrowed, and the smile disappeared. I don't think that's a very good sign.